as a player, you have to like the shirt you're playing in. Because, for example, if I show you another shirt here...
Which shirt don't you like? Quickly,
for example, that shirt.
You're going to concede a lot of goals in that shirt, because you know...
Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable playing such an ugly shirt. Hi.
How are you?
Good. Plenty of shirts here.
So many shirts for you.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Welcome to What I Wore. So it's basically, we've got a collection of shirts that kind of tells your life story. It can start with you growing up. So just to start, we always get our guests to wear a shirt. So I've got you your home shirt from the Invincibles. That's okay?
Yeah.
Do you mind popping it on?
Yeah, yeah.
When you was a player, when you was first wearing your shirts, like, was the size and the fitting a very important detail to you?
Of course.
Yeah.
You don't want to fly in your shirt. You just want to keep it tight. But at the time when I was playing, the shirts weren't that tight like they are today. We looked bigger, I guess.
Cool. So we're going to start with you growing up. Obviously, you grew up in West Germany at the time. We've got some classic shirts here. Do you pick me through which ones you remember?
This one is Sepp Maier's shirt.
Sepp Maier, yeah. Classic.
This
legend.
One was,
Yeah.
I think this one was a shirt of the World Cup winners in 1990. So unfortunately, I was too young.
You're too young for that. But talk to me about growing up in Germany at a time where the country was divided. Like, what was the culture like, and how did it form you to be the success that you are today?
Actually, we didn't really take notice of the division. We liked to play in Berlin because it was always exciting to go there, to see the border, to see the different houses on the other side of the wall. But actually, we preferred to stay on our side. Yeah.
How did your love for football start? Just like in general,
Well, I started playing with my brother, my cousin, and some friends on the street. And what I found out, sometimes I was going in goal and I found out, okay, it's not that tough to throw yourself on concrete. And so I developed kind of a technique to spring and roll, and quite liked it to go in goal.
So you being a keeper was by choice, because a lot of guys I know, they kind of forced in there and they don't have a choice and then they end up being good. But it was you actually wanted to be a keeper.
No. I was a striker before, and I was always playing outfield, and had my first offers as an outfield player. And when I went to this bigger club, I don't know when it was, but I think the keeper was not there whatsoever. And I said, okay, let me go in goal. And they said, no, we've signed you as a striker, you have to stay outside. I said, no, I want to go in goal. And it worked out quite well.
And then first club here, Schalke.
Yeah.
Talk to me about some of your memories of these shirts and like.
This is particularly ugly. I mean, where did you get them from?
It's like someone just threw paint on it, innit?
Yeah.
What are some early memories playing in Schalke? Like, you put on the shirt for the first time. You're a young professional. What's that feeling?
My first memory was actually when they invited me for a trial, that I had to play on grey ashes, and the goal, they were of wood, and sometimes these, you call them splinters. I was so scared of these goals, yeah, because there were splinters and everything, and I said, okay, no, I'm not coming here. And a couple of months later, we played them in a tournament, and we've beaten them with a small club on penalties. And then they came back and they made me a proper offer. And my father was there. At the time I didn't have an agent, was a father or nobody. And he was asking if I would, if it was possible to finish my school. And the president said, yeah, you can do that. So it was very important to my dad. So he signed a contract there at Schalke as a youth player. And then I started to wear these shirts. I remember that one here.
This one here?
Yeah, this one. And
what's your favourite out of these ones that we have?
Probably this one as well, because
one, yeah.
you know, I wasn't a national team player, but it reminded me of being a national team player because of the colours here.
How important were those years, like, in moulding you and becoming like the legend that you became?
I think they were very important because I had the chance to play, and I sometimes made mistakes. I think I remember once my coach said to me, if you make the same mistake like you did last week, you're out. And
just like that?
Yeah, I made another mistake. And so I thought, okay, I'm out next week. But fortunately, they've sacked him during the week, so I could go on.
But then you kind of settled yourself, and then we move on to Uefa Cup Final. where you guys wore this shirt. You made that save against this guy.
Yeah, I remember. It was on my note. Long run up, left corner.
Oh, so the notes and stuff started back in these days?
Yeah, but at the time I had it in my head because I had longer to prepare. I knew exactly who was going to go where. And at least I thought I knew. But he did me a favor and started with his right corner and my left corner. It's always good when you start with a save.
And then you move 98 to AC.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your memories. You're only a year there, but talk to me about your memories in the famous black and red straps.
I think at the time it was the greatest club in the world because I had another offer from Real Madrid.
Is
it? So I was simultaneously learning Spanish and Italian, but then because Italy was the biggest league, it was in 1998. Italian league, and this was a fantastic club. So I went there. I wasn't fortunate with my goalkeeping coach because he wanted to change my whole style, and I didn't really like it there. Then I got an injury. I was sitting on the bench then, and then I said, okay, I don't like it here that much. I have to go again. But we became Italian champions in that shirt.
Was that a hard choice to say from such a big club, such an iconic club, to say, you know what, I've got to put my career first and I've got to move on?
I think it was a mistake, yeah. But I can't really say because when I moved on to Dortmund, I've met my wife.
Ooh.
And so my family started to build up slowly.
But you do move on, as you said, to Dortmund in this shirt here, 99. What are your memories out here?
Oh, that was very tough. I remember that shirt.
Was it weird coming back to Germany?
Yeah, and particularly to Borussia Dortmund because I was leaving from Schalke. And it's like Spurs and Arsenal. Going to Borussia Dortmund, I think I met a lot of enemies at Schalke, and I didn't have a lot of friends in Dortmund because when I have left Schalke, just in my final year, I scored against Borussia Dortmund, and that really didn't go down well.
Okay, then you move London, 2003.
Yeah.
Before we get to the football, I want to know what was the lifestyle changes you had to make by moving into the city of London. Like, what was surprising about the city?
It was surprisingly big, surprisingly busy, surprisingly packed with all kind of rules. You know, when you park wrong or whatever. I remember I've been out once. And I came back, it was raining, and my car had a, how do you call it, clamp?
Ticket?
No,
a clamp, yeah.
Clamp. At 2 at night. So I was calling, and they said, yeah, we're coming around. So I was falling asleep in my car, and all of a sudden, an hour later, somebody knocked at my window with a hoodie. And I woke up and thought like, oh God, I'm dead. Because it was raining and you couldn't really see the guy, and this guy actually released me from that clamp.
As an Invincible, what made you guys so special?
First of all, I think it was a very nice shirt.
It's a great shirt.
Yeah? As a player, you have to like the shirt you're playing in. Because, for example, if I show you another shirt here.
Which shirt don't you like? Quickly,
for example, that shirt.
You're going to concede a lot of goals in that shirt, because you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable playing such an ugly shirt. Whereas I like the club, but the shirt, or even this one here, I don't know. Carnival just finished yesterday in Germany. You could have put it on for Carnival. And if you look, for example, a red shirt, they say that red shirts are good anyway because they make you a little bit more aggressive. For example, if you play in a grey shirt or whatever, it's probably making you less aggressive. That's what they say. So, but it was a beautiful shirt. And beautiful players. Freddie Ljungberg, he was a model for Calvin Klein. But Patrick Vieira thought he was a model as well.
I've got to bring out these two shirts. And I just need to get your perspective. Why were you lot so mad at this guy that day, that penalty? Like, what happened?
Well, I remember Martin jumping on him. But it was my first big game in England. And I was calling home because nobody's been booked after that game. I was calling home and said, oh, English football is fantastic. People punch each other, they push each other around, they swear at each other, and nobody's getting punished. Yeah? 4 days later, I think 3 of ours have seen the red card or have been suspended, and 2 of them. So it was different then.
Just last thing on Invincibles. Are you guys the best Premier League team ever?
I know that we had to combine pace, physicality, technique. So, of course, we were good. Best ever? I don't know. I like Man City as well as a fantastic team. Now Liverpool, look what they do.
Champions League final. Talk to me about your memories of this game. Like, what are your feelings to this game when you look back on it against these guys?
My personal problem was that I haven't conceded any goal throughout the whole Champions League campaign. That, for some reason, put me under pressure not to concede again. And that's why I made this decision. And I was a split second later when I was coming out of my goal. I think the referee could have given the goal for them. And now, what happened after, for example, in a Champions League final or any other final, no red card has been given during normal time, unless it has been decided already in the 85th or 80th minute and somebody misbehaved. But I remember a couple of finals after, people nearly killed each other and nobody has seen a red card. Because
I read an article recently, the referee's come out and said that's the biggest regret of his career. And how does that make you feel looking back?
Yeah, well, yeah, mine as well. But it is like it is. I think even on a normal day, if we'd been 1-0 down, we were the better team. We were 1-0 up even in that game. And we would have won, but sometimes it doesn't happen. It's very close.
Germany, debut.
This was my debut. You're so well prepared, yeah.
What's it like? You put on that shirt,
this shirt,
your country.
actually, this shirt was very heavy and thick. So it was a pain, actually, my first game for Germany, wearing that shirt and playing there. But we've won it, I think 2-0.
Well, how special was it like to represent your country? Like, you know the history of growing up in Germany, so many great legendary keepers, and then you get to wear it for the first time. Like, how was that feeling?
It's fantastic, whereas I thought it could have been earlier, because it was postponed for 2 years, in my opinion. But anyway, I started to play then. It was a good feeling and made me hungry for more. 2006,
yeah. This shirt here, World Cup,
yeah.
In your home country. Like.
Well, I had a story before, because I was competing for the #1 spot for 2 years with Oliver Kahn. And finally, when they made the decision that I was playing, it was a big uproar in Germany, because it was an ongoing issue for 2 years. And so I was quite happy actually to play in the first game. But then what happened, just 30 seconds before the kickoff, I twisted my ankle. And I thought, come on, yeah, let's start the game. And if I cannot go on, yeah, I at least have played a minute or two in my own World Cup. But we had a good therapist, and he just taped my ankle, and then we kept going. It happened the first time for the Germans after the World War that we have shown some kind of patriotism. Because as a German, you've been brought up without patriotism. Yeah, never show your color, never show your banner and whatsoever. And all of a sudden, it has exploded. And I think we were great hosts. The weather was fantastic. I remember that after the World Cup, because I've played at Arsenal with so many different nationalities, they even considered to make a holiday in Germany, because they thought the weather is always that great.
So the iconic notes in this game, where did that come from? Like?
That was actually because we only had 2 days, yeah, to prepare for the next game, which was between Sweden, I think, and Argentina. So, and at the age of 36, I was probably too old to have that all in my head. So I needed a note. And we have drafted that note in the morning. And then my goalkeeping coach, he gave it to me just before the penalty shootout. And because I wasn't sure again, I put it into my sock and took it out and was reading a little bit. But I wasn't aware that the Argentinian players, if at all, were watching me doing it. But after the game, all of a sudden, this little note became very famous.
Then semi-finals, disappointment against these guys. What are your memories of that day?
It was a fantastic day. It was actually probably the most emotional day, because really? When we arrived in Dortmund, it was our second game there after we've beaten Poland there. And there's some 10 kilometers from the roadway to our hotel. And the whole road was packed with people, and they were applauding. it was like, yeah, it's, one of these occasions where you only have the pleasure to enjoy it once in your life. So the game was very tight. I think we had good chances. We should have scored. And just before the end, everybody was settling for another penalty shootout. And then we've been punished really badly.
And then 2 years later, you play in the final of the Euros, this shirt, against these guys. What was that day like in the Euros playing against
I
Spain?
think if you look back at all the different tournaments, 2002 final, 2006 third, 2008 another final. It reminds me always that we could have done so much better.
Last thing, we're in a burning building and you have to save 2 shirts. So one is based on the memory, so favourite memory in a football shirt. Second is based strictly on the style. So we don't have any Tottenham kits, but anything that looks good, you can pick it. I'm not going to snitch. So first of all, best memory in a football shirt.
I like the black Arsenal shirt. Where's that? You had it at the start.
Just the one you're wearing?
Oh yeah, you see. That one.
Black, this one? Okay, yeah. Best looking shirt here.
Best
strictly
looking
on the style,
shirt.
like we're going to a rave, we need to go out. Which one are you wearing?
I like one shirt, yeah.
AC Milan one, yeah,
AC
classic.
Milan, yeah. But I think it comes in line with our shirt.
Which one?
This one.
Oh yeah, that's a good shirt as well.
But I have to say, I like that shirt here as well.
You like the United? You can't say that.
No, I can't say that. But you know, from a style,
Straight on style, yeah.
Just from
good.
style.
All right. Really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.